Uh,
All right, welcome to the first Google Hangout for Social Studies TLAP. Tonight's topic is Sharapalooza. With me is Matt Berry and Rob Pennington. I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Last names I'm always worried about. But all right, so tonight our idea is to, and you love the backgrounds that we all have going on. We've had a 10-minute conversation making them, and I think mine lost. But yeah, Matt, yours is awesome. I can't.
much obliged.
All right, and I think Chuck is joining us, so that's awesome. So we're going to kind of talk about the great things that have been going on in our classes this year, kind of hang out. So I was a high school social studies teacher for 15 years. Just this August, I took a job as a tech integrator in Green Bay. So love social studies. I continue to try and connect with the teachers as much as I can in my district and stuff. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rob Pennington. I'm 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher and tech coach. I'm in Norwalk, Connecticut.
How y'all doing? I'm Matt Berry from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a 10th year U.S. History and Government teacher from Atlanta, Georgia. And, I mean, it's obvious I'm teaching American history right now. And I live for the subject. There's nothing that makes me happier than American history.
Hey everybody, I'm late to the party I think, but I'm Chuck Taft. I teach 8th grade American history in the beautiful balmy city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I am, it's my 22nd year in the classroom, 18th at the school that I'm at right now, and one of the coolest things that I'd love to join or talk about is merging my 8th grade or my history curriculum with my English teacher who is doing we're doing an American Studies program now, so pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
Awesome. No, you guys are all taking pictures. You guys are making me nervous.
Oh, whoops. There we go. Yeah, I took it just so I could save and be like, holy cow, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have Rob, do we have the link that we can throw into Twitter so people can?
Yes, I'll do that right now.
Okay. I throw that on you. You're awesome. So everyone's coming into Twitter. I'm seeing my tweet deck jumping out. So.
Yep, I'm seeing some people come up.
Yep.
Hey, living the dream. How are you? Call me naive, but so now we're recording all this. Is this like people can click on it and start this link from the beginning of our conversation, or is it just live?
Well, at the end of it, it's going to be recorded on. Actually, I think they can when they go to YouTube.
Yeah.
They should be able to play it from the beginning.
Okay, awesome. Just
hopefully it'll be pressed on vinyl because that's in now.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, all right, cool. I got this mini disc player.
Hey, we had 8 tracks when I was a kid.
Oh, I remember the first iPod. Oh my gosh. No, I don't. I got nothing. I have no idea. This is my endorsement. I signed an endorsement campaign for Zaxby's for tonight's sponsorship.
Is that how you get all your cool stuff for your room?
Yeah,
right.
a lot of letters to Zaxby's.
Sell your soul for the swag, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my Twitter feed and I just saw Mr. A47 who popped up. We did like a 15-minute Skype session together. It was pretty cool. We had a good time. His kids were writing letters to soldiers from the Civil War, and my kids were in the Civil War, so it was pretty cool. He's got a whole competition and everything.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, he divides up his class into North and South, and I think right now the North is winning, which I'm okay with to an extent.
What I ever tell you guys, I'm not doing social studies right now, but when talking about the competition North and South, I used to have the kids make the supplies for the North and the South. You divide them up into 2 teams, and you give them scissors and construction paper. Well, you divide them up into small groups so they don't know how many are in each side. So you give more groups are the North and the South. You give the North the nice scissors. You give the north, more construction paper, and they have to cut out meat, cannonballs, uniforms, pants and shirt, and rifles.
Yeah.
In the south, I go and I talk to the science teacher. I get the dissecting scissors, the old crappy ones.
Nice.
And last year I actually cleaned them because they didn't clean them out, so there's like worms and stuff on it. I had to clean them off before I used them.
Oh yeah.
But I give them those, and so the north can cut out like 4 or 5 pieces at a time. The south is barely getting through 2, and then you have them lining them up, and you kick out any ones that aren't, like for the cannonballs, if it's not round, you kick them out. If the rifle doesn't have the bayonet, you kick it out. So it's got to be usable. And they have them line them up across that line, and then they stand there and they go, why was this side able to have more than that side? And they look at it and they talk about, well, they had more people, they had more supplies, they had more this. And you talk about, well, yeah, they had the railroad, they had this. So it's a great conversation piece, and the kids got to experience it. And it takes, you give them about 10, 15 minutes to actually cut the stuff out, and then the conversation goes for the rest of that class period. And it's awesome.
Nice. Very nice.
That's great.
So there's my big share for the beginning of the year, beginning of the night. So there, I got one in.
There you go. I mean, that's fantastic. So we have people watching. We have about 7 viewers right now. We're glad that you can watch. If you have something that when the questions start coming, which they should be coming in a minute,
yep.
You want to come and join the chat, let us know. We'll add you in. And if we find something, we might ask you to join. Hopefully you'll join and share your greatness with us, because that's the big thing, is that together we are better. And the first question has gone out, and it is competition hook, gamifying your activity. Is it someone wants to share an activity where they've gamified or turned a game into their classroom? Chuck, Matt, Ben?
Yeah, I'm trying to go, I closed out my TweetDeck by accident because I'm a doofus.
I work with Michael Matera, who is kind of a gamifying guru.
Yes.
Not kind of, he actually is. But I've kind of gleaned a couple things off of him. One thing that I've done is as both of you, a couple of you have mentioned, Ben, you mentioned too, dividing your kids into the North and the South in the Civil War. And I have them all part of my army. And there's there's a Taft-Walzak army who I teach with, and they're divided in the North and South. They can do things to get badges. It's your typical badge kind of thing. Some of them are things within class, your homework assignments, your coming to class prepared, your actions in class. Some of them are extra. I've got a bunch of cool trivia, extra credit to Wisconsin in the Civil War. They can do movie reviews, book reviews. They do things in English class as well, and they can rank up. They can move up into different ranks within the Army, moving up from major to all the way up to, nobody can be a general, but it can be I think my highest is maybe a lieutenant, and a lot of the kids really respond to it. It gets kids to do a lot of stuff that they probably wouldn't do if it wasn't for the entire little badge kind of thing. I mean, it's like the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. You throw a badge out there, and people will learn how to make a fire. And I would suggest that anybody who wants to jump in and gamify, Michael, who's the pro, does it for his whole course. If you do it for a unit or even for like a week or something like that, you can find out how it works and how to tweak it. The kids really liked it because there's a new badge coming every day that they could try to do or try to achieve.
I think it also personalizes learning for kids, and I think each kid can kind of learn at their own pace to earn their badge and do what they need to do, which I think is great. I've done that with the staff at my school this year, trying to get them to incorporate more technology, where they can earn different points based on. If I sign up for Twitter, I get 2 points. If I participate in a chat, I get 2 points. And so based on how many points they get. And that's something that I found that it even works with adults as well.
Very cool. I've talked with Michael Materi a few times. I actually stole his Renaissance Survivor lesson last year, but kind of just dabbling in it. I didn't do as much of the points and the side projects and things like that, but I was telling, I was at an ed camp this weekend and had, we're talking with it, my students did the final project where they had to kind of quiz each other and make sure everyone was understanding their topic. And we had kids doing, I don't want to say it's that, the college beer pong, but they had to throw a ping pong ball into a bucket, and so they answer the question. If they get it right, they get the points. If they don't get it right, they don't get the points. Other kids had other games and stuff, so allowing them to also build in their own quiz and their own presentation style and stuff was really cool. So that, that gamifying stuff is allowing kids to find their niche and their interests and stuff, which I really like.
Nice. I wish I did a better job with the gamifying in the classroom. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't do it. I've done one attempt at a game, and it was for our Constitution unit. It was like 2 years ago, and I was just going in so many different directions I couldn't keep up because I'm so rapid fire in the classroom that I just lost that one bad experience. For me, unfortunately, turned me off of it. But I need to get back on the bandwagon. Especially now that, Chuck, I believe it was Chuck, you just shared your gamifying experience. So I saved that, and I'm trying to take a look at other resources that are out there, but I'm just not quite there yet. Working on it, though.
And if I could throw in there, it kind of is one of those things that that Dave talks about in his book. It might be great to gamify or try to experiment gamifying something that it's really not maybe your favorite thing to teach. Now I know, Matt, you love everything about teaching American history. It's like, you'd have to change curriculum or whatever. But it could be something just to jazz it up, something that's always been challenging. For me, I don't teach it anymore, but it would have been colonial America before the Revolution. I always kind of struggled with trying to jazz that baby up. So I might try to throw in and gamify that. Build a colony, or move up in some sort of colonial rank, or try to capture all 13 colonies and earn all 13 colonies in one way or another. And it just might give a little more incentive, spice things up a little bit for my kids, but also for myself. So that's just an idea.
Yeah, the building a colony would definitely, if you had kids create to try to build a colony, who could build the best colony using what resources and location and, crops, and then understanding your elements, that would be awesome. I like that. I got to go with Georgia. I'm a little partial.
Yeah, well, someone had, Carrie Gallagher had it on the other day where she put, kids were doing a travel video for the early colonies. So the kids had to decide, like an infomercial about coming to their colony and those kind of things. When you're talking about building and stuff, shining a light on why you should come to Jamestown or Virginia or whatever it was, and that kind of stuff, and having people have to they were all watching them, critiquing each other, and that kind of stuff. I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, I did something with that this year actually, because with green screen. And the kids had to create the infomercial to kind of draw people to get them to come to the colony. And so what was great was they could put something specific with the green screen behind them. And I had kids that put on the if you ever see any of those when they're trying the infomercials, they're trying to sell you something, they wear the special mic, and I had kids doing that, and they're like, "Come to Georgia," and it was really trying to get people to come, but there was a lot of content in their infomercial as well.
I like that a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah, green screen is a great technology now that we have, and all you need is an iPad for it. So.
Yep. Y'all have how are the devices working in y'all's classrooms? One-to-one or BYOT, etc.
At my school, we have Chromebooks. That's our big push. We got them because of testing, but I can't complain why we got them because we have them. We have wireless now, and this is all in the last couple of years, which I think is great. How about you, Matt?
We're kind of a bring your own technology, but I honestly feel like I work in a Mac store because the kids all get MacBooks, and I teach the 1%. That's the way I look at it. I really do. The kids all have a laptop by the end of their 6th or 7th grade year, and they always bring in these MacBooks every single day. They're always doing all their projects on it. And some kids, if they don't have a MacBook, they're using their iPad with the little type type the keyboard with it. But if I needed every kid to have a device in class on a given day, I have it. And then we have a traveling Mac cart, and so really there's an unlimited amount of resources available for us in the classroom. It becomes overwhelming sometimes, to be honest with you.
How about you, Chuck? Are you one-to-one? Bring your own device?
We am I unmuted? Yeah. We are one-to-one. I'm kind of like Matt. Our kids carry MacBooks, and about 90% have cell phones, have smartphones, and I've been trying to use those a little more in class with varying degrees of success. I find that even more, it's using a cell phone in class for me is more successful if it's not for an entire class, if it's for, all right, 5-minute cell phone activity. But our MacBooks are utilized in every class. It's every one of my classes. It's a tool. It's kind of like their notebook, their pencil, their pen. I'm kind of with Matt with a little bit of the 1%, especially when it comes to connectivity.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I'm looking more at cell phones, because to try to sort of spread the word and spread the wealth. This thing right here is an amazingly powerful computer. It's incredible what you can do and what you can create on it, and some of the things that we actually can create on the cell phone you can't create online. An example is a telegami or an Instagram. I'm having kids do answering an essential question any way they want, and some are using Instagram. And you can't do an Instagram story online. You can look at it online, but you got to have a cell phone to do it. So there's a lot of unpacked potential, and I think some people are just kind of a little scared about having phones in the classroom.
Well, I think that we need to look at it as a mobile learning device, not just a cell phone. And I think that we do have to teach kids that it is a mobile learning device. And once you do that, the potential is endless. How about you, Ben?
I'm in a different situation because I'm at 5 different schools, but Green Bay we have a mission to kind of get our numbers to like one computer to about every 2 kids. So, and we have, I want to say our population is diverse. We have some kids who can bring in a device and they have it at home and they have access and things, and other ones that don't. And we've actually done a thing called they can check out Kajits. They're these mobile hotspots that kids can have. So if they don't have internet at home, they have access to those things. So we're doing a lot to get access to our kids, not only in school and outside of school. So we've been pushing a lot for our Chromebook carts and stuff, and we're rolling out a ton of those this year. So computers, they're available for teachers. Sometimes you gotta kind of finagle a little bit yet, but we're getting more and more every single day. So we are on the upswing with that. And I've been able to get into classrooms and do a lot more with it. And for some of my elementary who didn't have a whole lot, we're looking at lessons. We're trying to figure some stuff out. We are actually doing some video pen pal things. I know you guys did the Google Hangout between some guy I saw. Matt, you did like a Google Hangout or a Skype with Heidi up in Merton and stuff, and we're looking at some of these. Yeah, we're doing some of these things and trying to make these connections stuff so the kids get used to it, and then they start enjoying it and want to do more of it. Because every time I go in the classroom, they're like, "Oh, we get to do computers today." So that excitement continues.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's about getting them excited, because then possibilities are endless. Having so many students have the devices, and we just have to really. I mean, there's so many things you can do with them.
Yep.
Question 2 is about priming the grill. Matt, I'm going to go with you first, just because I know that I saw some pictures this week.
All right. Yeah. The question, I'm scrolling. The question is,
what do you do to prime the grill to get kids excited?
I mean, I think it just speaks with your personality as an educator. I mean, the kids walk into my classroom and they see 150 president bobbleheads and Pez dispensers, and they see, I've got every single flag I can think of from American history, and then I got 6 or 7 cardboard cutouts of presidents and Sacagawea and Sitting Bull, and I wear a different necktie every day for whatever the lesson is, historically speaking. And so get the sheer excitement for showing the kids what is exciting about the subject and saying, like, you know, you kids, you will not believe this story. I cannot even make this story up. Let me tell you how, and then just that general excitement of showing the kids how passionate and excited I am for the content, to then show them, like, this stuff's pretty cool to think about. And then telling part of a story and getting to an outlandish part of it, so that way the kids are thinking to themselves, you know, I got a question about that. You know, we all know that John Wilkes Booth, you know, killed Lincoln, and we know that that one guy was sent to kill William Seward, and then I always say, like, but the way he tried to kill William Seward, and then that gets the kids' interest. Like, they all try to find the small things and nuances in history that that are kind of not really told in class, but just trying to get them interested, to get them asking more questions. So, and yes, Chris, I was literally playing with fire this week in my classroom. I see the tweet.
One of the ways that I like to bring in excitement is I always like to tell the kids we have a special guest coming in. Really start talking, and it works really well the first time. They're all nervous because there's a special guest coming in, and then when it's me dressed up in some crazy costume, the second time I try to do that, they go, "What are you going to be this time?" Yep. So I mean, I find that that's a huge hook for kids. Also, you know, I use Remind with my kids, and I saw a lot of people tweeting out about Remind, but Remind's a great tool to just say, "Oh, guess what's coming tomorrow," or you know, have them look something up before the class to get them really pumped up, and it's any way you can create excitement. I'm big with video, so I might send like a YouTube video that just really short, very short, you know, 30-second video that just really gets them thinking for the next day. How about you, Chuck?
Oh, can I jump in real quick, Rob? When
Go
you
ahead,
actually
Ben.
I saw in your tweet you said special guest, and I also went, "Ooh, who's coming in our Google Hangout now?" So you had me excited about it. I went, "What?" So just to tweet about your answer. So Chuck, go ahead.
I'm kind of with Matt too. I try to get as passionate as I can about some of the subjects that we talk. You know, Robert mentioned Remind. I use Selly, which is, you know, pretty much the same thing. In Instagram, try to send out little hints or just little teasers. I mean, it's the hooks. It's the idea of getting kids to just kind of really want to bop into your class. I'd like to start class with hooks a lot instead of trying to do you know, the housekeeping stuff at the start of class where either I don't know the last time I took attendance. I'll take attendance in the middle of class. It's a lot more easier and a lot more, I think, productive than starting class that way, and just ready to get people jazzed up. Or, you know, any of the hooks that you know we all know and love from Dave are the best way to push people in and get them fired up to learn about the past and connect it to the present.
I haven't taken attendance since NOM. Holy cow. I think Amy posted something, music and lighting always help set the environment. So true. Or having a movie going on in the background when you first go into class, the kids are like, what's going on here? Or having an image on your smartboard if you have one, or having an image taped to the front of the room, or even in the doorway. I found that pretty interesting. If you just have like a piece of string and then an image, a picture of that's taped to it, where the kids walk in, they see that right before they walk in the door, and they go, oh, all right, what is this I'm looking at? Oh, I guess this is what we're going to talk about in class. And so already you've got it's like fishing with dynamite.
Yeah, it's when you're talking about that, we did with the social studies teachers in one middle school, we did immigration simulation, so it kind of connects them, because we had a big sign up there, "Welcome to America," and when they're out there, we're yelling at them in gibberish, whatever I don't know any foreign language. I took Latin, so that's the best I got. And so we're yelling words out at them and stuff, and they each were given a little card that was like who they were. So I had to represent this person from where the country, their name, all that kind of stuff. Then they walk in, and we watch them walk along a path, and then they come up to the medical examiner, and they have to answer some questions. And if they have anything wrong with them, they go in the detention area. And And then, so we're making them jump up and down. We're checking their eyes and everything else. Then if they get through that, they go through the legal part, and we ask them a bunch of questions. They fail that, they go in the detention area. So those that are in first class walk through, and we got the video playing up there. They got the sound. You can see the images of Ellis Island, and they go in another room, and they get to sit there, and they got to have candy and hang out and watch, a different video. And the rest of them had to go through this process. And so then we went through and we talked to them a little bit more. And we talked about why they were watched when they walked through, looking to see if they were any lame or whatever. We talked about the tuberculosis, everything else, if they had a job already there, that it was legal, and all those different kind of things. And so we went through the whole process in a great debrief, but they got to experience the fear of if they didn't make it through. And again, at the end of the hour, they know they're leaving, but to have some of that sense of, you didn't make it to America. You got to cross that ship. You went through all that stuff, and you might not make it. It was a great conversation for it. So we had a little anticipation. We told them about this, a couple days ahead of time, put the big sign when they got there, and then they had to go through the whole experience. So we kind of made our room at the time into, transformed. We had stuff on the walls and everything else. So it's kind of cool.
We're going to move on to the next question, which is field trips. And I know that in this group, we've all talked about field trips. I think we even had a field trip chat one time. But field trips, to me, are one of the greatest experiences you can give kids. I work in a city, and many of my kids don't get to go to Washington, D.C., except for when we take our field trip. And, one of the things I'm very proud of is that we work really hard to plan the best trip possible for kids, planning scavenger hunts on events, really trying to get them excited, we plan with them in mind. Instead of just, there are some great tour companies, but I think that teachers have a better sense of middle school or high school kids. Sometimes you get these great tour guides, but they can't gear their lesson towards kids. And that's one of the things I found. But you don't have to go on these extravagant field trips. You can really do things around your local history. That's one of the things I've done is we have a big local Norwalk history scavenger hunt where kids go around and they have to take pictures at different spots because the Revolutionary War happened here. I mean, our town was burned to the ground during the Revolution, which is pretty fascinating. And there's all these amazing monuments around Norwalk, but the kids don't know anything about it. They just drive by them. So now they do this scavenger hunt, and it really is something, I think, that gets them excited. And in 20 years, they might not remember everything, but when they go by one of those monuments, they're going to remember that we had history here.
Right.
Yep. I think the national parks are also an outstanding way for the kids to learn history and to go on a field trip, even though they may not physically be going on a field trip. The National Park Service has done an excellent job with their websites, providing pictures and maps and lists of things to do and what you can do culturally and what you can do in the park itself and how to access it. I know the Women's Rights National Park up in Seneca Falls, they had actually sent me an email after they saw the Seneca Falls convention that we did, and they asked, can we Skype with your class so we can show you, we'll walk through the museum and show you all the stuff that you guys just learned about. And so I sent a letter to pretty much every national park on Twitter, and I've received over 35 packages from the national parks of pamphlets, maps, books, letters that say the people to contact that we can Skype with to see, live footage from the parks. And so this spring, when I go to Washington, D.C. with the 7th graders, I'm going to have my 8th graders do a gallery walk for the national parks. And I'm going to have one thing from every single park that I receive hanging in that room, and they're going to have to choose and explain why are these national monuments and national parks, what makes them historically important, and why would you want to visit them? If I get a hiccup.
I just want to take a second. Amy joined our chat.
Nice hat.
That is an awesome hat. Amy, how are you?
Doing well. I don't know why my webcam's not picking up. It's just picking up the audio, it looks like.
It's not. It doesn't look like it's blocked out.
Is it blocked by the hat?
I don't. For some reason,
I think the
picture's
sun is
not.
blocked by that hat.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with my webcam. I just updated my computer and I'm still figuring it out. But that's just my Google image.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on field trips. Would you like to chime in on field trips?
Well, I'm still new to the area. We just moved to Tulsa from St. Louis, but living up there, I used to love taking kids to the courthouse downtown. We had one of the few federal courthouses that was actually designed for field trips. It was pretty awesome.
Nice. It is crazy, like what really you have around you that you could go see. I mean, for crying out loud, like I got the Civil War in my backyard.
I hear you guys talking about going downtown in D.C. and seeing the museums and stuff there, and I'm like, ah!
Yeah.
I do the DC trip as well with our 8th graders, similar to I know at least Matt and Robert. Do you take yours to DC, or you haven't taken them to the city? I didn't get that.
We actually alternate trips. One year we go to DC and one year we go to Boston, and we actually used to do both, which I was a big fan of. But now we have one trip one year and one trip the next year. Okay. So we alternate, but I mean, I think both places are amazing.
We go with a big tour company, but the good thing is our tour company lets us plan the entire thing. And I've been on the trip. This will be my 18th year, and we don't need a step-on guide because the people that have been on the trip are know what's going on. And I would totally echo what Robert says about we as teachers know what our students want and need. And while there are great experts, a perfect place. We go to Gettysburg every year, and we have had. This kind of sounds sad, but we have had great guides and we've had not so great guides. But all of the guides for your average group of 98th graders, they know too much. So they speak at a level kind of way up here. And so we've actually developed our own trip where I'm the guide and we take them through Wisconsin at Gettysburg and take them out of the bus and write numbers on their hands, and they rush the railroad cut on day one, and I'll yell out the numbers that get nailed and die and the numbers that get hit in the knees and they'll fall as they go up to the railroad cut, and we all take a picture around the Wisconsin, well, it's the Iron Brigade Monument, 3 divisions from Wisconsin. We do Pickett's Charge, and have kids go out in the middle of the field and charge the stone wall by the copse of trees, and it's where they get more content from a guide, absolutely, but because it's tailored to them and it's active and engaging and exciting, I think they get a lot more out of it. It's tiring for me, but it's a good time. And they also know a lot about it because we're talking about transforming the classroom in an earlier one. We're taking it to a different place. If you can't go to a place, bring the place to you, kind of like, Matt is saying about turning your room into a gallery wall. We turned we have a big auditorium, we turned it into Gettysburg, and you can do Gettysburg on the floor with masking tape. And it's real simple, and kids actually walked, did the battle. Your theater is anybody's theater, any school's theater could be Ford's theater, and you can do Lincoln's assassination. You can actually get the park narration of Lincoln's assassination and have kids, or what we do is we have adults act it out. And my science teacher was John Wilkes Booth this year, and he fake jumped off a balcony, and it was fantastic. And the kids love that too.
It sounds absolutely amazing.
I like it.
And that actually gives us a good transition to our next question, which is using Google Hangouts or Skype in the classroom. Ben, as a tech integrator, have you been doing a lot of this with your teachers?
We have. We actually were just talking to a teacher that took a job in another district. We're trying to line up the elementary schools to do a book read back and forth. Part of this question came from, I know Matt has done this a little bit, and Mr. A and stuff have gone back and forth with classes. The one I saw they really liked was one group did a trial, and the other classroom came in as a jury. Because I've done trial activity before, but the problem is always what do you do with those kids who are the jury? How do you keep them occupied doing those kind of things and stuff? So if you have your class focuses on the trial part, you get another class to be the jury, they get involved and they get to hear all the cool stuff that you learned about. So they're learning as well. But then you have this group kind of unbiased making a decision. So I thought it was a really cool activity. I'm trying to get more into getting into Google Hangouts and stuff. We're kind of taking baby steps with that right now, but that's an area I want to jump into more. What do we guys?
Amy, have you used any Skype or Google Hangout type stuff?
Most of what I've done with it is more like grabbing people on campus in other areas of the building. When it came to what day it was, but right at the beginning of the school year, we got a hold of the veterans that were on campus, the guards at the guard shack and stuff, and just kind of did a big thank you and talk and questions and answer session. It was pretty cool.
Nice, nice. I know we did our Google Hangout this year with the Second Continental Congress in the fall, and connected with oh my gosh, we connected with 9 schools, I think, and it just kind of like it was a domino effect. Like we really decided to start with 1 or 2 instead of Skype because we could connect with 2 schools at the same time, and then as we sent out the link, kind of like tonight where this link has gone out, people see it, they click on it, and then we had a couple other schools join in last second, wanted to ask our kids questions about what life was like at the at the Second Continental Congress, writing the Declaration of Independence. And it was, I would say it's the most successful lesson I've ever had, and the most exciting lesson my students have ever had. But I have found that these are hard lessons to plan, and anyone who has any suggestions, whether in our group or in our chat, any suggestions you have on how to make a Google Hangout session or a Skype lesson more beneficial, send them. The more we can get, the merrier.
One of the things I did is, and actually she's in the chat with Sophia Gordos, her class and my class, we had a Google mystery Skype actually, and it was really great for the geography. Kids were asking yes or no questions, and we had kids using a Today's Meet where they're just keeping everything in a Google form, and it was just really great to see their thinking process through that mystery Skype. It really challenged them to ask productive questions and to work through that whole process. And it really was great for my class and her class as well. As far as one thing that I think is really powerful is when you can bring in experts. I think that if you can bring in someone who wrote a book, perfect example is one of the books I have my kids read is George Washington's Spy Master. It's a great book, and it's an easy read. But we've had the author actually Skype in and talk with the kids about the book. Talk about taking a book to the next level. The kids were so excited. It really just piqued their interest the entire time. And they knew that throughout, so as they read, they actually read with more intent because they knew that they were going to have the opportunity to talk with the person who wrote it.
Very cool.
Next question is on music. How do you use music in your classroom?
Chuck, I'd love to know what you do.
Chuck, are you the music person?
Yeah.
Are you a music man?
I was in the music man.
You're the piano man.
I try to use it, I use it for background and things like that, but historically I try to use it to set the stage. Obviously, I use it more and more and more as we move along the timeline. I mean, you can't do the 20s without music. You can't do the Depression without music. There's just great compilations that are available out there to play both as historical content but also as background.
Yep.
The protest music is by far the best because it's the music that I like. The kids don't like my Cold War '80s music.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Oh.
You know, they, you know.
We're
Plus,
talking,
I
are we
mean,
talking
I was
band
never
or
big
what?
the biggest Scorpions fan for
Yeah.
Winds of Change, and uh, um, but I also like kids. You know, some people have posted it on the Twitter feed, and I was just about to throw one on here too. You know, having the kids create music. One that I've had them do is, you know, everybody thinks they're a rapper, which of course I am. It's T-Dog with 2 G's and a W is my alter ego. But kids can make, anybody can make a basic rap by just doing an A-B, and the kids love to do it. And I just put a couple Federalist, Democratic, Republican, you know, epic rap battle things on. That I think is the best way to incorporate it because you get kids to create as well.
I agree. I did in my middle
Have-
age. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said, have you guys tried that Smule app? It's a free app that you can just record yourself talking and it turns into a rap song. We have had way too much fun with that.
What
So
was
is
it?
it
What was that
IMDb?
tool?
It's called SMULE, Smule,
Yeah.
and it's like a free, there's like 1 or 2 beats a day that's free, but you just record
Yeah, actually,
with
I
your
use.
song.
Oh,
Yeah, if you search it, it's also known as Songify,
Yep.
and it'll your Amy's right. It kind of auto tunes. It's
Right.
it's pretty funny. My
I-
couple kids did it for a choice project and I was you know, they still had to write it and create it, and then it turned it into, you know, I can't auto tune it, so but they were pretty awesome.
I mean, I do the Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. I took that and I put that to auto-tune. It sounds pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. Kids like that stuff.
I took the first part of Gettysburg Address and used that S-Mule to do it as well. So, and then I've had kids make a song for the Middle Ages where they had to teach about religion, Black Flag, or whatever. So I had to make their own song. I tried to have them do a ballad, but that didn't work real well because they didn't understand a ballad. And I'm not that musically inclined, but the one I still remember, we have videotape of it, is the kids did, instead of I work out, they go, or I go to the gym, whatever, they did it to I pray. So I go to church and I pray, so that one was pretty cool. They did a good job.
Today when I was in my Civil War tent, I ended up singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic. I had a student walk in late as I was singing it, and she walked in, and I was so focused in the character of my Civil War soldier, and the kids were sitting on the edge of their seat watching me sing it, and she walks in and she goes, "Wait, can you start over? I don't know where we are right now."
Yeah, that's tough. You know, when that happens. You know, one of my tools that I like to use, and I'm sure everyone has heard of it, is Vocabulary. It's a great tool. It looks at they look at the week in rap, but they also have a lot of historical content as well. But I haven't done it, but I've been toying with the idea of doing it. You know, the epic rap battle that I know Chuck was talking about. I heard about it just the other day, and it really sounds like a great way to hook kids and have them creating the content. That's one of the things I think we're trying to do is really make the students producers of information and not just consumers.
Yep.
And if you do the epic rap battle, there's about 5 different online things that where you can get rap names for your kids. You just type in names, and I'll find some and post them real quick. But I mean that's a solid 10 minutes of fun.
Yep. Nice.
And I think we're on to the next question.
Yep, number 6. I believe so. It's kind of your free choice. Hooks that really work.
Choose your hook, your chance to celebrate any example of hooks you have incorporated.
I did a really good job of writing up the question and topics this week, so I apologize. But did you see the ones above that, like your best multiple choice? I worked hard on those.
I saw that, and I thought to myself, I haven't given out a multiple choice test at all this year, so
Right, I know.
I guess my first one will be the best.
Yeah, I know that's why I put them. Cause I gave up on the multiple choice stuff, but I was like, I want to see what reaction I would get from those topics. So,
Yeah.
we're on best hooks that you know the ones you go to, or the ones you just kind of have hammered it for you. So,
Yeah. I like Nikki Davidson just posted something opening the dramatic story of King Louis XVI headed for the guillotine. That's a good hook. That is a good hook if you're if as long as you're not King Louis XVI.
yeah.
There's a good story about the guillotine. I'll tell you that, Nikki, if you want. Just send me a message.
When I was student teaching, when we made the guillotine, made me think about this. We told the story of Henry VIII, and we were doing it for all the different classes in the 8th grade history. And he had a wooden stool and this this wooden axe with like the leather for the axe part of it, and we would smack the handle the stool every time we said, he chopped off her head. And he had, in his story, almost every one of his wives died and stuff. So we're smacking this thing. By the end of the day, we broke the stool in half. The kids were loving it because every time you did it, you had the big thump on there. So kind of acting out and doing that storyteller thing where you're not just talking, but you're, story and you're animated and that stuff. I love those, and I wish I had, was better at it. But that one, and then I'm going to steal right now since I got it. When I talk about the medieval Inquisition, we talk about the torture devices. I've got the kids on the edge of the seat talking about describing them, and the kids are. I've had a couple of them come back and say, "Hey, when you teach that lesson, can I come back?" But they love talking about the pear and all these different things and stuff. I'm like, "Oh, you guys need to get out more." But it kind of creeps me out that you're so excited about it. But they loved hearing about the saw and all these different things.
We have Mark just joined the chat.
Nice.
Mark,
How you doing, Mark? Oh, your volume's a little off there, Mark. So.
Hear me now?
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
There
we
we
hear
go.
you. We hear you. Maybe just talk a little loud. We're on hooks.
One of the things I use was an entrance ticket for my Colonial Junk Food Day. So I had my podium out in the hallway, and the kids had to hand me their ticket to get into the class. And every kid had it the next day.
Oh, so,
Nice.
yeah, that's definitely nice. Chuck, hooks.
Still had to unmute. But I don't want you to hear me sniffling the whole time. Best hooks. Geez, a lot of them I've wiped from, probably the best one is the Prohibition Speakeasy that I've done for about 6 years now, and that was straight out of the first time I saw Dave Burgess, where he said to his kids, we're drinking beer in school on Friday, and secret knock, secret password, hide the secret pass, or I had a little 20s slang trivia somewhere around the hallway where it says, hey, second period, second period 20s residents or whatever, what does it mean if it's none of your business? And then they have to knock on the door and say none of your beeswax. And I have a little, one of those little things where you kind of come down here, and that's one of the better hooks. They get excited just to get in the room.
nice.
Very cool.
I'm trying to think of a good. I just saw. I don't know who posted it. Was it? I don't know. Amy maybe posted it, but a good mystery bag for. Could have just done it for. Should have just done it for the Progressive era. Could have pulled out, dollar bill, Federal Reserve note. Could have pulled out an oil can for Standard Oil or something. Could have pulled out a hot dog with a
Yeah.
jungle. That and say what do all these have in common? That would have been pretty. I got to do that next year.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that because the mystery bag is on my list of hooks to do when we get to Theodore Roosevelt. I'm a pole vault coach, and magically there will be some pole vault poles all over the place when I get to my classroom that day. Speak softly, but carry a big stick.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Amy, how about you? Hooks?
Probably not in the beginning of class, but years ago teaching modern American, I used to tackle kids in the hallway. Well, not truly tackle, but go after kids in the hallway with the blanket over your head and, like the spy, the Russian, and just, the kids just didn't know what was coming next. Jump on the desks while you're talking. Mr. Barry, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's funny too, and I think I bet all of us, especially in this chat too, can attest to this. I bet we do things subconsciously. I bet we're all using hooks. We're using mystery bags, and I bet we're doing all of these things and we don't even think about it half the time. It just kind of is sort of coming natural to us at some point, and then we're getting to a point where I've gotten to the point for certain where I'm thinking, like, what do I want to do with my next unit? How do I want to introduce it instead of just doing, that music? Or do I want to do something instead of using this picture or this image? It's like, wait a minute, I've been using hooks all year. Now I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I've been pirating so much. Where do you move to the next step?
Great question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just, keep trying to make, the key is just to have that growth mindset where we're always trying to make things better.
Yeah.
I really think, keep trying to, make every lesson amazing, and it comes. Slowly but surely. Takes time.
Yeah. What do you think of the? What do you guys think of the concept or the idea? If I put a Google form, if I put a Google Doc together, and I broke it down by maybe subject matter, and we could all maybe copy and paste links of what we're doing, maybe what's worked and what's not. So like here's a link to a great hook for the Roaring Twenties, as Chuck said. Yep. About the 1920s, and then I see on here, I'm just going through on the right side, like Amy does all the medieval stuff, and she's mentioned a lot of medieval lessons and hooks, and so those can be put in there. So what do you guys think? You want me to put something together like that?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
clearly it'd be a living document, though.
Matt, I might already have one. I did one a couple years ago.
Okay.
We actually did. I did a couple local, and then one of my one NCSS presentation about 3 years ago was basically, it was a sharing is caring.
Oh,
without
cool.
a dog barking.
Okay.
And that's what we did, was we went around and filled out a Google Doc. So I'll try to. It was a Google form that that we utilized. I'll try to find it and send it out before, within the next 3 or 4 minutes if I wade through my Google forms. But right. It's a fantastic idea. I think, Ben, we have one for music somewhere.
Yeah, I got it someplace. I'll try and find that quick. I know we started that because I wanted to infuse music in all my different stuff, so I put that together and threw things together. So I will look that up real quick.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, I think that the smartest person in the room is the room, and I think that we have so many great minds and so many great ideas, and that's the best thing about all of this, is that you come into a discussion and you get 5 more ideas to add to your classroom to make it better, and who benefits? The kids benefit, which I think is really great. Question 7 is your best lesson, your ticket lesson, the one where kids will come back to over and over again, that they will remember long after they have had you as their teacher.
Woo. That is a heck of a question. That's a heat.
I threw the heat.
Yeah, I don't swing well. I would say that that it's normally my Second Continental Congress lesson, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit this year. I don't know if you guys can see it that well, but this year it's got to be the Lewis and Clark expedition that we made, which happened to be our pretty outstanding lesson. I think that was the lesson of the year, and I think it's only going to get better as we try to include more classes involved. I want to Skype some other classes in future years. So going on the Lewis and Clark expedition, I think, was one of the best lessons of the year.
That's
And
awesome.
Matt, I saw what you did on that, which is insane. And
Only
one
took
thing
70 hours.
I know exactly. And I had mentioned there's this app called Eris Games, where
Yeah.
if they're running outside, it's all done by GPS, and they could have along the way, information pop up, and you can hide. I hid a bunch of Jefferson nickels. I didn't dress up like you do, but you can hide Jefferson nickels, and you can like we have a cross country path. They were running down the cross country path, and they're on the Columbia River, and they're looking around, and all of a sudden pops up a couple of the local Indians, and they per se, and then somebody has to stop and read, Ocean in View, oh the joy, and then they get to the end, and it just all comes on their phone, but they're still being active and stuff. It was pretty fun, and of course,
That's awesome.
one person has to carry a baby.
All right, I'm a little opposed to that last thing, but I love the rest of it. That's awesome.
It's fun. It's
You know that? I left that baby in Kansas City. Oh, I'll be right back.
How about you, Ben? What was your favorite?
I threw two in the chat. My first one was I used to do a trial activity of the trial of the monarch. So I put in like King Louis the 14th and stuff on trial over. They all had like the three same, crimes and stuff, and gave the kids very little information, just what was in a textbook, and then they had to make up dialogue and they had to make up testimony. They had to go back and forth. So it was a lot of critical thinking, and it was really cool because the kids had to kind of think on their spot and stuff. But some of it got kind of too much because the cross-examination, the kids were tearing into each other because the kid who went in there not prepared got kind of wiped out. So I kind of have modified that a little bit. But on the other side was beginning of last year, kind of when I jumped into Teach Like a Pirate and I really want to do this stuff, my kids did a presentation before members of the school board about what should be taught. We're talking about creation, the stories of creation and stuff, Big Bang Theory or intelligent design, and they had to present before. One member of the school board came in, the superintendent, a principal, and assistant principal, and they had to present, and they did it with a partner sometimes, but individually. And some of these kids who aren't necessarily the rock star students, I found myself no longer evaluating them, thinking about a grade, but I was in awe. I'm watching these kids just like I'm like excited for them, like yes, you nailed it. I'm that to me was one of the best lessons because I put myself not about grades, but these kids were being successful. The kids were rocking. They got a lot of great positive feedback, and that was kind of maybe my best lesson seeing that.
Nice.
Favorite lesson for me. That's awesome, by the way, Ben.
Thanks.
Favorite lesson for me is in 7th grade. We have the Berlin Conference. I become Otto von Bismarck, and my students are ambassadors, and we have this whole event where they are shamelessly dividing up Africa amongst European countries, and it really just leads into such a great discussion about colonialism. So that's 7th grade. I really enjoy that. In 8th grade, it has to be the Trail of Tears, and I've tweeted out pictures from the Trail of Tears where my students, they jump into the picture and they become different Native Americans and soldiers. And I have one kid who plays Andrew Jackson. I have another kid who is a Georgian farmer. And it really is, when we're looking at multiple perspectives, they really jump in and take on such a great role. And I leave that lesson. I actually feel like I am interviewing the real people. And the kids, they've reflected on that and said, I actually felt like I was being removed from my land, which I think is, pretty powerful. So that's probably my favorite lesson in those 2 grades. How about you, Amy?
So far the favorite's been the American Revolution causes lesson. Kids came in, we started what was actually the next day's lesson and got quote-unquote interrupted with an official memo that was changes to the handbook, and they went berserk. Within 3 minutes it was out on Twitter and social media and other places. We had to put out fires for a few days afterward as parents went crazy. But they totally got it. They totally understood the frustrations and you can't do this, and it was great.
Great.
Cool.
And the last question of the night was for Sharapalooza. Your choice. Best experience, connection to students.
Yeah, this is kind of in general, kind of the best thing you've had with your students, best experience. Doesn't have to be hooked, doesn't have to be anything, but any connection, bond, whatever, just what makes you stay wanting to be in education was kind of the question with that one.
Hot and heavy question. I like that.
Go ahead, Matt. You're first.
Oh, I've had a
Like,
couple. I did have I had one student come up to me 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, "Mr. Barry, I'm going to the Citadel for college." I said, "Oh, good for you. I'm very excited for you. That's a very honorable school." And he said, "Yeah, I remember learning a lot about my delegate at the Second Continental Congress and learning about South Carolina's colonial history and then the military history involved in what was going on in the Revolutionary War. And then that piqued my interest into being more excited about, the military. And I thought, you know what, I want to go to a military school." And I was just like beyond myself. Like that, the fact that that could even remotely be traced back to something done in 8th grade to have an impact on, this young man's life going into college. And he's one of the finest young men I've ever had walk into my classroom. He's a good kid. And he's going to graduate from the Citadel this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it totally puts things in perspective. An 84 on a multiple choice test in 7th grade does not mean that much. The connection you make with the kids is lights out.
absolutely. I mean, that's where mine kind of comes in. Is I had last couple of years, I had a couple of students come in and tell me about some of the things going on in their personal lives and stuff. One was, cutting and different things and dealing with some stuff. And, I didn't think I had a great connection with her in class. I didn't think I had made this bond and stuff, but, kept coming in and we're talking after school. She sought me out and all that kind of stuff. And, when you don't, it kind of makes that message. Even if you don't think you're making a difference, you can be, and also being aware of how you interact with each person, each kid, means a world difference to them. Saying hi, acknowledging them, those kind of things. And this year, as a tech integrator, I've been in a classroom, this one teacher's classroom like 3 times, working technology stuff. Well, the last day this kid is leaving, he's moving to a different place, but he brings me over and he's showing me this house that he's got. He's got Google Earth on, whatever, and he's got this house, and he's showing me this house, and he's telling me about, when they had a fire there, and he's got this and that, whatever going on, and he's telling me about all the things he's gone through. He's in, elementary school, or no, sorry, elementary, he's middle school, and he's telling me all the stuff already that he's gone through. I'm like, oh, I left that classroom almost crying because I'm 40 and I've never had to deal with all the things this kid has had to go through. And for whatever reason, he decided to tell me this today. I'm like, okay, you have power in it, even if you don't realize that you're connected with them. That's the stuff that you have that potential to do with kids. So that's been awesome for me.
Yeah, wow.
That's amazing. For me, there's so many things going on in our kids' lives, and we have to keep that in perspective and really try and build relationships with kids. And when a kid comes back from high school and says, thank you so much, I was so prepared for the AP exam. Yeah, that's great. I'm very happy to hear that, and I love when kids come back and they let me know that. I think that's fantastic. But when a kid comes back to me and says, "Thank you so much for inspiring me to get through high school," that means more. That's something, and that's what gets me going. Is that some kids, if they don't have someone that cares about them and is there for them, then they're not going. They might not make it through, and so all it takes is one person. And it's that sand dollar effect. I don't know if you've heard that before, but I'm not going to get all of the sand dollars, but if I get one and I save it, that's what keeps me going. How about you, Chuck? Final thoughts?
I'm getting old, so I've been fortunate to have a few. But 2 years ago, on my end of the year self-assessment, I had students self-assess every quarter. And on the end of the year, a student that is a very good student, like a model citizen kind of guy, good athlete, smart guy, whatever, one of those guys who can go and probably do anything that he would want to do. He said, "Thank you so much for having such a great year, and because of your class, I think I want to be a history teacher."
Oh,
And that was kind of that was whoa. So he's a sophomore now, and he'll probably go into business. But
Hey.
it was and coming at the end of the year, it was kind of like I'm still doing what I should be doing.
Right.
Nice.
Well, I think that for our first live event, I think that it went well. I wish we could have gotten a few more people in. I invited a few people who couldn't join, but I'm sure we'll have another one. I think that this was great. Thank you, Chuck and Ben and Matt. I just, it was great to have the live discussion to go with the chat. So
Yeah.
Very much so. I agree, and thank you again for getting me in the loop on this. I appreciate y'all's involvement. I hope everyone out there, I hope y'all got a lot out of the chat tonight too, as we've been kind of scrolling through the screen, kind of checking everything out. But outstanding. Very well done, y'all.
I'm far behind on the chat. I've been trying to keep up with the chat and talk to you guys, and I'm not a multitasker, but yeah, no, I appreciate Rob for kind of jumping in and kind of asking the question, hosting, and doing that stuff, and for getting this going. And you guys, Chuck and Matt, for jumping in with this. This is awesome. This is something I thought about this summer and didn't really know how to pull it off. So this is great. I appreciate it so much. So getting to see people and face to face kind of and connecting and seeing their stories as we go through it. Yeah, we'll get more as we do this. We'll get more into our chat as we do this more frequently. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a way better teacher because of you guys and everybody that's on this chat. So to do it face to face is it's gravy.
Yep.
I agree 100%, and that was one of the things. I mean, I think we're all better because together. I think it gives us all ideas, and it all takes it to the next level. And now, just even having the discussion, I mean, you're right, Ben. It's hard to multitask, looking at the chat and the discussion. But I still, there were so many great things that people shared, but the ideas that were shared here, it was a really great chat, and I was, I was excited to host and help host, and because you guys are fantastic and you inspire me every day. So just want to say that social studies, TLAP, awesome.
Yep. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you,
guys.
Have a good night, guys. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Have a great night.
Have a great night.
All right. See